بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الصلاة والسلام على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين نبينا وإمامنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. أما بعد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. May Allah bless you all, those who are in attendance, those brothers and sisters throughout Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's gracious, beautiful, spacious earth as well. Tonight's session, as you already know, is going to be on selected readings from the book Jaami Bayanil wa Fadlihi. Jaami Bayanil wa Fadlihi, of one of the great scholars of the 5th century, if not one of the greatest of them, Al-Hafidh ibn Abdul Barr, rahimahullah ta'ala. So basically, we have 2 nights. And of course, you always have the book forever. When I leave, and even before I even, come and explain or comment, you have the book. You should have the book. You should know the book. It's something that we've exposed the students and the disciples to before. So what we want to do is just read through it, run through it, select a few chapters, explain, comment, and shed light and magnify the focus or increase the focus on certain important points in this book. But the entire book, the entire work as a whole is something that you guys will always have at your own leisure, at your own time, at your own pace. Khairan, inshallah. So therefore, let's get started tonight with mentioning the biography of the author in brief, some historical background about the author, and perhaps some of the importance of the book, why I selected the book, and how the author wrote the book, his style. And perhaps Bidnillah Ta'ala will go on and read and peruse through the table of contents and the index and come across the most important chapters or all of the chapters. And then Bidnillah Ta'ala tomorrow, if there's time, we'll actually take some selections from the book, make a complete sharh of those selected chapters. And if not a complete sharh, a complete explanation, then at least full commentary or healthy commentary. As far as what prints will we be using, or what print will we use, sister asked earlier, then 2 main prints. The first print is the actual book itself, which is going to be Dar ibn al-Jawzi. Dar ibn al-Jawzi. And when you Google it to download the PDF or archive.org to read it online, or if you want to buy the actual book, if it's in the bookstores here, then in most cases, you're going to come across Dar ibn al-Jawzi. That is one of the best, if not the best version of the book that's available with the tahqiq, the editing of the original manuscript, and with the ta'liq, the annotation upon the original manuscript, and along with al-kalamu ala al-athar al-warida tashihan wa tad'ifan, commenting on the prophetic narrations and the athar from the Sahaba and from the Tabi'een. And as we've explained in our lessons on Kitab al-Ilm of Abu Khaythama Zuhair ibn Harb al-Nasa'i, from the shuyukh of who? Imam Muslim. From the shuyukh of Imam Muslim. We read that last night in the restaurant. Zuhair ibn Harb, right? From the shuyukh of Imam Muslim. You see, you got to know how it clicks. Not through memorizing and studying, but through what? Murur. Keep passing, going over it. Al-Muhim, we explained in our lessons on Kitab al-Ilm of Zuhair ibn Harb the difference between a tahqiq and a ta'liq and a takhrij. And there are many people in the Middle Eastern world and in the Western world who confuse the 3 things. And there's no talazum between this and that. And I'm speaking now to the mutafawwiqeen wal mutafawwiqat. Inna al mutafawwiqina wal mutafawwiqat, right? We're speaking to the students who are a bit advanced right now, in person and online. When they say tahqiq then it means to take the manuscript, the al-aslul makhtut, the handwritten manuscript, either by the author or one of his students, and to make it look like this, printed. Everyone understand this? Printed. Colons, hyphens, commas, dots, periods, exclamation marks, question marks, paragraphs laid out, multiple. That's tahqiq al-nas. And taking the three versions of the manuscript, al-usul al-makhtuta or al-makhtutat, and comparing them and looking to which one is complete, which one is most accurate, which one is the oldest, which one was written by the author himself. You understand this? And then coming out with asah ma yumkin, the most authentic version of the book, ala aqrabi suratin mumkin, in the style and the way that the author intended, as close as possible. Everyone understand this? Without 50 million footnotes, and without making it into a huge size in which a small risala becomes a 500-page book. That's not how the author meant. The author wrote a risala latifa, muqaddimah. Everyone understand this? So taking the usul al-makhtuta, the manuscripts, we have three manuscripts of the book. One is written by Ibn Abdul Barr, one is written by one of his direct disciples, and the third is manqula an as-sabiqatayn. But it may be akmal, it may be ajmal, it may be awdah, maybe easier script. But that's not going to be the thing that you're going to make your i'timad upon. You're going to go back to the first makhtut, even if it's difficult to read or even if it's naqis, and that's going to be your asl. So you take the manuscript and you're going to type it out. And anything that you can't see, you can't decipher, or it's too difficult, you go back to those other two. Maybe the student's handwriting was better than the author, or easier. And the third one, the nasikh, who could have just been hired. He wasn't an alim at all. He was a katib. He may have seen it, deciphered it, and wrote it in a clear, simple, beautiful way. But it doesn't mean that it's asah, that it's more accurate. So you're going to put in the footnotes, you're going to make your rumuz, alif, zay, وفي الكذا وفي الهندية وفي you're going to say في الأصل فلان, the Istanbul version, this version. You refer to the other ones on the side. That is tahqiq. The hadith is sahih, da'if, sahu, Shaykh Al-Albani, that's not tahqiq. هذا ليس هو تحقيق. Everyone understand this? Number two is you make ta'liq, in which the author mentions a word and you put in the footnotes, it means this. وفي اللسان كذا وفي القاموس كذا. أنتم معنا؟ جاء في تاج الروس كذا. That's ta'liq. Or something which is mushkil, nas mushkil. أراد به كذا. It's mujmal, it's mubayyin, etc. That's ta'liq. Or even a small commentary. And then the author mentions that Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu reported that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Man su'ila an ilmin fakatamahu." And then he says in the footnotes, "Akhrajahu Ahmad, wa min tariq al-musannif fulan, wa fulan, wa alan, wa alan, wa alan, kulluhum min turuqin an fulan, an Abi Hurairah bihi marfu'an. Qultu wa sanaduhu hasan. Qultu wa isnaduhu da'if. Illa anna lahu shahidan wa qad tubi'." That's the takhrij of the hadith, wal hukm ala al-athar. So you may have a book in which there's no real tahqiq, but it's the kalam on the hadiths. That's not what? That's not tahqiq. You may have a book in which the tahqiq has been done and he doesn't say anything about the hadiths. That's tahqiq, and it's no what? Takhrij. A person may make takhrij, or may make tahqiq, but he may not explain or comment on anything which is weird or peculiar, and that's no what? Ta'liq. And the same applies to English. Editing something, annotating a thing, putting footnotes. I don't understand this. I'm speaking, as I said before, the advanced students. Some people who may not be familiar with this, just be patient with us. Whereas our classes are for different levels of people. And alhamdulillah, this is not the first class that we've done on these types of books. So we don't necessarily have to make everything simple ABC. We've been doing this for a few times. We've mentioned many books in these sessions. Walillah alhamd. Everyone understand these points? So there's a difference. So the muhaqqiq, the editor, the annotator, he makes an introduction to the book. Everyone understand this? So be mindful of this, And just because the book has good ta'liq on it or takhrij, it doesn't mean that it is the most accurate tahqiq of the book. So Dar ibn al-Jawzi is the print, which is the best one available in my limited knowledge of the book. And there's also a summarized version of the book, which perhaps we'll look into and read, which is called Sahihu Jaami Bayanil wa Fadlihi lil-Hafidh ibn Abd al-Barr. And that's printed by Maktabat ibn Taymiyyah in Cairo and Maktabat al-Ilm in Jeddah. Obviously, Dar ibn al-Jawzi is well known in the kingdom, all right? And they're, alhamdulillah, they're well known for producing quality prints of books, walillah alhamd, for years. And obviously, the title of the summarized version, Sahih, the author of this, he's the muhaqqiq, he didn't have to say that. He could have just said Tahdhib. Tahdhib, Jaami' Bayanil wa Fadlihi. Don't transgress the boundaries on the author and saying this is the authentic version. So the author's version is what? The da'if version? This is a problem that many people they fall into. The best thing to say is Tahdhibu Jaami' Bayanil wa Fadlihi. And in the introduction mention Manhaji fi Tahdhib. حذفت المكرر حذفت ما تم الحكم عليه بالضعف حذفت كذا حذفت كذا حذفت كذا وبس. Ihtiram of the author. But that's a very long discussion. طيب, let's get started. Inshallah, say page down, page up, page down. So it says Talif Abi Umar Yusuf ibn Abdul Barr. He died in the year 463, and that's the editor's name, Abu al-Ashbal az-Zuhaydi. Dar ibn al-Jawzi, as I just explained to you. So the sisters and the brothers who asked, this is the print that we're going to be using. If you don't have it on your iPad, download it now. You should already have this book on your iPad. You should already have this book on your tablet, your Samsung tablet, if you are a self-respecting student of ilm. If you are self-respecting, listen carefully, if you respect yourself, you should already have this book in your library. If you don't respect yourself, and you're really not serious, then it may be the first time you may hear about this book. But if you're a self-respecting collector, it's already supposed to be in your what? In your collection. Moving forward. This when the book was printed, At-Tabbatul Ula, 1994. The book was printed before this, obviously, but this print, Dar ibn al-Jawzi, is 94. Then it says introduction. Muqaddimatu Kitab Jaami' Bayan Ilm wa Fadlihi. Tayyib. That's by the editor as well. All right, he says here. Tayyib. Tarjamatul Hafidh ibn Abdul Barr. Inshallah, we have a volunteer to read this, please. His biography, his life story. Who can read it for us? Anybody who volunteer to read for us? Khalid, Fadl. First thing that you want to mention when you're doing a book report or when you're introducing a book, his name, first and foremost, completely. Wa nasabuhu, his lineage. Lineage is not name. Many people, they do what? They confuse the two. Someone's lineage is not his name. Everyone understand this? Where I grew up, where I was raised, I migrated to, I got married in a place and stayed there for some years, and my actual ancestry, my actual ethnicity is not included in my what? My name. Everyone understand this? And then it says, وَكُنْيَتُهُ, his kunya, which is sometimes included in his name. Al-Muhim, Fadl. Tayyib, he starts off by praising him and giving him his due respect and value. هو الإمام والعلامة. يعني الإمام والعلام. The ta is for what? Mubalagha. Tayyib, he is the great, the grand master. That's what we say in English. The what? The grand master. Al-Imam wal-Allama. Many people, they say the great scholar, the erudite, this. In English, that's not how we say. We can what? Grandmaster. So the top. Everyone understand this? The highest title that you can get. Everyone understand this? Grandmaster. Tayyib, not just master, but what? Grandmaster. Hafidhul Maghrib. He was the chief of the West. The chief of the West. And obviously the term Al-Maghrib back then, it didn't necessarily mean Morocco as it's used today. And along with many other words which have a usage noun but are very different back then. And we had a discussion about this, Sheikh Mu'tasim, we talking about the ice cream, right? And Jordan and other countries. It's totally different how it was back then. Remember, we were eating steak. Tayyib, Hafidhul Maghrib. the memorizer, the prodigy, the genius of the West, not necessarily Morocco. Meaning this includes Spain, Andalusia, Portugal, and parts of North Africa as well. Parts of what? North Africa as well. Shaykhul Islam, Alam al-A'lam, from the greatest of the great. And then his actual kunya is what? Abu Umar. That's his kunya. Like most of the ulama, they were known by their kunyas or they had them. His actual name is Yusuf. That's his first name, Yusuf. And his father's name was Yusuf ibn Abdullah. So that's his actual name, Yusuf, the son of Abdullah. Grandfather being Ibn Muhammad. Great-grandfather being Abdul Barr. So his name is Ibn Abdul Barr, but Abdul Barr is not his father's name. And there are many scholars like this who are known by their grandfathers or great-grandfathers, like Ahmad ibn Hanbal. Hanbal wasn't his father. Hanbal was his what? His grandfather, Ahmad ibn Muhammad ibn Hanbal. All right? Let alone Zuhri and Ibn Rajab and so on and so forth. Tayyib. Ibn Al-Namari. Al-Qurtubi. Al-Andalusi. So now he's going into his lineage, what tribe he comes from, what clan he comes from, his country. Qurtubi comes from what country? Cordoba, exactly, Cordoba. And obviously that's a long, long discussion with regards to the history of Islam and the Muslims in Spain. The good and the bad. Many people, they don't mention the virtue and the excellence of what the Muslims did there. And there are also things which aren't so good that took place in Spain. Many people think that Spain and the Muslims being there was an absolute utopia. That's not true. What happened there in Spain were the cause to many, many other atrocities and catastrophes in history. But that's a long discussion with regards to the Moors, all right? Especially when we talk about Western countries, the United States, North America. There are many historians who have all types of theories regarding the Moors and their state there, the Moorish Caliphate, so on and so forth. Long, long, long history. When we talk about the United States, when we talk about Canada, we talk about Morocco, North Africa, read about the Moors. طيب. So, Al-Qurtubi, Al-Andalusi. طيب. And then his madhab was what? Al-Maliki. He was a Maliki. All right? He was a Maliki. Was he a blind follower? Was he a bigot? Was he a staunch Maliki? No. Rather, he was Maliki. And the Muhakkak is going to mention later on that he changed his madhab. Some say that he used to be Shafi'i. Then he converted to Malikism. طيب. Fadl. He was an excellent author. He was a great scholar, and he was an excellent author, Explosive penmanship. طيب. Moving forward. Now he's going into his genealogy, saying that he originally was Arabian. Because obviously, Andalusia and Spain and Portugal and Cordoba, these aren't places of the Middle East or places where Arabs were known for being from and a part of. But he says that his lineage, that he was originally Arabian, him being born in a place and raised in a place. One may ask the question, as far as his background and actual information, that's fine. But if that's not the case, what does that have to do with anything? This is where he was from. Why is it even important to mention that he was originally Arabian? That's a very long discussion in itself. Moving forward, we'll add that too. ايش هذا يا اخي بالإضافة يا أخي اثنان ولا اثنتين ولا كيف يا خالد والستين ماشي كما في البغية والجذوة إلى أن قال وقيل عدي جاوز Now he says, when was he born exactly? Like many great scholars in the past, and many normal people, even up to this day, you'd be shocked how many people don't know the exact year in which they were born. Many people are like this in rural countries or third world countries, or even some rural parts of the United States. They may not know the specific year in which they were born. I'm 63, 65 years old, for sure. But the specific year, they may not what? They may not know. All right? They may not know. So they differ exactly when he was born. Some say 362, and some say 368. So if he was born in 362, and he died 463, that means he lived to be almost 100 years. Correct? 362, 463. That's what? وهكذا 99, 100, 101. Everyone understand this? Ummir. He lived for a long time. طيب. Then they go on to mention he was born on Jumu'ah, on Friday, the 5th day of Rabi'ul Akhir. And the Imam was giving the khutbah. That's an interesting fact. It doesn't change anything. لا يقدم شيئا ولا يؤخر. It's just latifa, yani. It's something which is interesting. And Allah knows best the symbolicism behind that. His mother gave birth when the Imam was doing what? Doing the khutbah. That has to mean something. He came out in an environment, in a time that was blessed, barakah. Everyone understand this? The Imam was mentioned in the Quran, the Sunnah, and he was born in the masjid. Or wherever his mother was. That has to mean what? That has to mean something, no doubt about that. Everyone understand this? He's blessed. He was born during the khutbah. Everyone understand this? These interesting facts, alhamdulillah, are things which you can benefit from, and it makes knowledge fun. It makes knowledge what? Makes it fun. And we all need to have fun when we seek knowledge. Having fun when you seek knowledge is important, not to become bored, not to become burnt out, not to become worn out, not to quit and give up. And that's why many of the ulama, they mention these things. At-tara'if, they mention these different things, these facts, these riddles. They mention these different lawful, permissible jokes and things like this to keep the student what? Interested in it. There are many, many, many things like this. Tayyib, nash'atuhu, how did he grow up? Crucial information, the man that he became is nothing more than a result of the boy whom he was. His parents, his uncles, his aunts, his mother, his scholars, his teachers, the people that were around him as a boy are the reason for him becoming the what? The man that he was. And this is crucially important, how we raise our children, how we influence our children, who we expose our children to, the good or the bad. Everyone understand this? The good or the bad. The good or the bad. نشأ ابن عبد البر في مدينة قرطبة فضل وكانت يومئذ برع فيه طيب. So he grew up in Cordoba, and at the time that was the capital of the Caliphate of Andalusia. He grew up in a capital. Obviously, that's going to have an effect on his life as well. And many people, they say busy, populous cities are bad, they're dangerous, they're unhealthy, etc. Sometimes they are. But capitals bring many advantages as well. Capitals bring many advantages as well. And many people, they don't look on it. The inner city has its problems. The urban city, the metropolis. But these things also bring what? Several advantages. And from those advantages is that it's always bustling. People are coming in and going out. So sometimes you get the best of the best to come to your city. Those rural villages, this place, they may not go there. They may not be known. But the main city is always going to have, in most cases, is going to have several different personalities coming and visiting you. And that's a benefit when it comes to knowledge. Things that are available, the library that's available, the books that are available is going to be the best in the what? In the capital, let alone medicine. Being sick, a child dying at birth, the mother dying at childbirth. These things are going to be, inshallah ta'ala, less likely in the what? In the capital. So be mindful. The capital is not always evil, as many people think. The inner urban city is not always the bad place. It comes with its disadvantages. It also comes with its what? With its advantages. And this, we're going to see here what the advantage was. He says that Cordoba, he says, Madinatul ilmi wa mahbitul ilm. It was a city that was sprawling with knowledge. thriving with knowledge. It was full of ilm. Fuqaha, muhaddithin, qurra, reciters of the Quran, they all chose this place to stay and to dwell therein. Secondly, he says, وَمُسْتَقَرُّ أَهْلِ السُنَّةِ وَالْجَمَاعَةِ. It wasn't a city that was ran and controlled by Rafida or Shia or Ismailiyya or whatever title or sect. It was the place for Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. It was the stronghold of the Orthodox Sunni Islam. It was the stronghold for Orthodox Sunni Islam. And that's obviously going to have an effect on his aqeedah and how he learned and how he studied. Everyone understand this? He was in this environment. Moving forward, he says here, so in this this scientific environment in which he lived, he grew up. He was raised. And he started seeking knowledge and learning from the fuhul al-ulama, the grand masters of Cordoba. And he narrated hadiths from them until he exceeded everyone else. The people who came before him, those who were older, he left them behind. He left them in his dust. And he was given the title Hafidhul Maghrib. He was the great grand memorizer of the West. He was the best of the best at a young age. وَانْحَدْرَ أَيْضًا الْحَافِظُ بن عبد البر من أسرة وفي بيت اشتهر بالعلم والفضل والزهد. He then goes on to speak about his household. Not only was he talented, but he came from a bloodline of talent. His household was full of knowledge, piety, and zuhd. They weren't people who were mongers of the dunya. They were people of the hereafter, all right? And that's going to have an effect on him being a great scholar. فهذا جده محمد بن عبد البر بن عاصم النمري كان من العباد المنقطعين المعروفين بالتهجد المبرزين فيه. His grandfather, Muhammad ibn Abdul Barr, was a well-known zahid, an ascetic. He was a well-known worshipper. He was like a monk. He would pray at night and he would remove himself from the worldly affairs. وقد صحب ولازم الزاهد الإليبيري. Then he mentioned some more facts regarding what he did concerning his worship. وهذا والده عبد الله محمد من فقهاء قرطبة المعروفين نشأ في كنف والده محمد الزاهد مما مكن له ذلك الاتصال بأهل العلم والأخذ عن كبارهم حتى بلغ في ذلك شأوا عظيما. And then he talks about his father, Abdullah ibn Muhammad, was a faqih, was a jurist, and he was well known and respected. And he was always with his father. All right? He was always with him. It says here, his father as well. And this allowed the connection to be made. For him to be in the company and the presence of the scholars. And to take from them. And from, he says, the senior ulama. Until he reached what he reached. And this is a tremendously important point when it comes to raising children once more. Raising children. You have to put your child in the environment of success at a young age. You have to place them in the successful environment at a young age. Everyone understand this? So, your father and your mother, what they do for you, and what they surround you, what they put you around, is going to be pivotal in how you grow up. Good or bad. I'm not a psychologist or a person who studies these things, the psychiatric issues, but those who I do know and speak with and converse with, and a few books that I have time to read, there are different theories regarding human behavior. Many people say that everything that you do when you're an adult is a product and a result of your childhood. Some who have the theory, they say everything that you do, good or bad, is based off of what you experienced, what you saw, what was direct or indirect, consciously or subconsciously at your youthful years. Good or bad. And many people who have all types of problems and character flaws and behavioral issues, it's because of how they were raised and what they were exposed to. And this is a faida of not fighting someone to change who they are. Don't try to squeeze blood out of a rock. This, in most cases, the person is not going to change. And in most cases, he's going to blame you or she's going to blame this one and that one for their problems when they were younger. Things that they grew up upon and they can't get rid of. So put your children in a good environment, a sound environment, in the household, in the school, to the best of your ability, huh? And Allah knows best. I believe it's time for Salat and Isha now. Inshallah, we're going to take an intermission and continue after the Salah. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala.